Hello, I'm Annalouise, and today I'm going to be talking about falling in love. What happens when I say falling in love? Do you think, oh, how sweet? Or do you feel like a little bit, oh, I don't believe in that, or that's not for me, or that's soppy? What's your instant reaction? I find that I'm really filled up by sweet love stories, particularly with people who are slightly older, maybe in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, and falling in love, like completely falling in love and finding like an amazing connection. I find it heartwarming, I find it enlivening, and it also feels like it gives me hope in life that everyone can fall in love at any age, irrespective of circumstances. What is your current love level? Do you feel you're completely in love right now? Do you feel like you're in that like completely heady in love place? That would be a 10. Or do you feel leave me alone? I'm not even interested in talking about falling in love, which would be perhaps a 0, or somewhere in between. Do you feel like maybe, oh, I'm open to love, but I'm not too sure? Or are you in perhaps a relationship where you feel in love, but there's something that's perhaps gone a little bit, well, perhaps like the heart is slightly less open than it used to be? Wherever you are, all is good. All is good. I seem to be drawing people around me that have had lovely love stories recently. So I'll share a few of those, and then we'll move on to sort of love in the bigger sense, not just with other human beings. And we'll see where this magical journey of love stories takes us. No doubt it will be a surprise for me as much as for you. So there are 3 people that are my age or older around me that recently have really fallen in love. And they've all met their current partners in different ways. So one met through a dating site, and they actually are living in different countries, but the pull is there so that they, whenever they can, they go and visit each other. And it's so beautiful to watch the lovely connection and company and warmth that there is between them. And also to watch this pull, this pull, this momentum that means that they will get on a plane and go and visit the other person and do all the things that need to be done in order to make long distance relationship work. So that's one example. And then another example, which I'm going to say because of the maybe slightly unusual place in which they met. And both people lost their partners, lost their husband and their wife, and they actually came together and met in grief club. So they came to this grief club to talk about the things that was going on for them and to help them overcome some of these difficult emotions and the deep loss that they both had around losing their partners. And they created a connection, and then little by little it turned into a friendship, and now they're married. And it hasn't been that long a time, really. And oh, that story filled up my heart so much. It's someone that I care about, and yeah, to see him so happy is just beautiful and so full of light and connection and warmth. And then the other one was I was just walking down the street near my home, and I bumped into a lady that, by her own admittal, would say, I imagine, that she'd passed through a very difficult few years and has felt very lonely in many respects. And of course the pandemic hasn't helped in that for her. And she has met an old school friend, and they've got together and they're getting on like a house on fire. So it's beautiful, right? That's 3 examples and 3 very different ways of coming into connection. One which was like a very conscious decision of dating, like online dating. The other which was like the grief club. It was like I think neither of them imagined they'd be ready for a relationship, because they had so much of their past wife and husband still with them in their hearts. But love is love, and it has its own power. And then the other example, which was like a reconnection from the past, again, perhaps unexpected, but then somehow everything settles into place. And I think that's what's interesting about love, is that sometimes timing might not be right. So we meet someone, we have a great relationship with them, like friendship, but timing isn't right for a relationship. And then later on, maybe something falls into place and it does become this amazing, amazing relationship. The other thing I'd like to share is a story about a friend of mine who's really, really open-hearted. He's one of the most open-hearted people I know and lives a very high vibration. He's an amazing human being. And he has a term called micro enamorado, which is like sort of mini in love. So I'll say to him, "Oh, how are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm mini in love," because he has this wonderful gift of feeling love with so many people. His heart is so open. So I would say he micro falls in love with 70% of the women he meets. And of course, some women he has a more powerful, more stronger bond with. But he has this wonderful gift of being so open. And another story which leads us away from the direct human connection is someone I remember meeting a number of years ago who glowed with those qualities of love. She was just emanating love and light and heart open. I mean, just amazing. And I got chatting to her, and I can't remember how we got onto it, but we got onto the idea of, relationships. And she said, I am so filled up with love for God. I don't feel any need at all for a relationship. And I could so feel her truth in that. She was emanating so much joy and love. There was just absolutely no need, or not even a desire, not even a desire, because she was so filled up. And then a story for myself. I was seeing some friends a few weeks ago, and my friend has got a new puppy, and the puppy is 3 months old, and I fell in love with this puppy. I could just feel my heart fall open. It was just so gorgeous. I just wanted to play with it all the time and give it cuddles and stroke it, and oh yeah. So this is gradually leading us on to the fact that love can appear in all sorts of ways. We might be in love with our animals, we might be in love with God, we might be in love with life, we might be in love with activities, pastimes. And isn't it wonderful if we can live in that place of love, that place of feeling filled up with love, like we're in our love overflow. But life sometimes makes things challenging, and sometimes it feels like our love vessel isn't so open or isn't so full. And I know I've certainly been through that experience. After painful separation, I still felt love, but I wasn't. I was not in that overflow. Yeah, and it really, one of the blessings that I kept on coming back to in that time was, wow, I can relate to the depth of pain that people can experience in this lifetime, because it was just, the pain was so deep. And so it was like, wow, I can relate to all these people in the world that perhaps I wouldn't have related to so fully in the past. Yeah. And of course, when things happen, it might be heartbreak, it might be grief, it might be just stress. We can gradually sort of close down or not become open to reconnection in whatever form. Have you ever experienced that in your life? You're blessed if you haven't. But I imagine most of the people listening to this at some point will have gone through that place, and maybe you're feeling that place now, where falling in love feels like a million miles away, and feeling that like full love vessel feels like a mile away, or maybe 100 miles away, or 10,000 miles away. Anyway, wherever we are, if we do feel our love vessel is quite empty, I would love you to take away these stories and like hold them in your heart, to realize that we can all pass through difficult times and come out the other side, because having hope through the difficult times is such a blessing and such a gift. And then if your love vessel is totally full, like my lovely friend, then what a blessing to be able to share our love with the world, to be able to share our love of whatever we're doing with other people, and to cultivate loving and kind and open and warmth on this planet. Let me just tune in and see if there's anything else that I want to say. That's interesting. So if we are feeling closed, maybe there's something we can do to help us open again. So it might be seeking support or therapy or counselling or body work, or it might be just about taking the brave step of reconnection again. I think most people, particularly as we get older, have a fear of, for instance, online dating. Actually, it just came up on the Connect and Appreciate call last week that there was a sense of, I don't want to go this wasn't me personally, but members of the group, I'm not interested in doing online dating. I've had bad experiences. So even like overcoming some of those prejudices and fears and stepping through and stepping into life again, like the story of the person that was doing the online dating and has met this person in a different country, their initial reaction to when I suggested he started online dating was just like, not interested. And so it took, little by little, it took a journey of getting used to dating, seeing how it was, experimenting, learning about himself, getting feedback from himself and how he reacted to different dating situations, until he met someone that he really likes. So like everything in life, it's just one step at a time. And we might not be feeling ready for reconnection into love, but we can take a little step into something that helps us open back into life again. Please do share your comments below. As always, please do forward this into the world for anyone that you think might be ready to take another step in life. Maybe they've gone through a difficult time, or who just wants to celebrate love and loves a love story like me. And do subscribe to the channel so you get notifications. You can subscribe and press a little bell. That means you'll get notifications. And sending you a week full of light and love and hope and openness to receive. Openness to receive things that might arise around us, but perhaps sometimes we might shut away from. Happy week to you.